So everybody gets mad when gas prices go up, but I think the average person is paying 20 to 30 times more per mile than I'm paying to drive this old 2003 Jetta. So I came up with some pizza box math here. We've got my Jetta, $2,000, and I'll go over all this. So this is the miles you drive, and this is the car and the price you paid for it. So we've got some crazy examples here, like if you buy a $400,000 Porsche and you put 5,000 miles on it, you paid $80 per mile, and that's just the value of the vehicle. But they're pretty distracting. And it has nothing to do with gas mileage or anything like that, because I would consider that your operating cost, and that's going to vary depending on where you live, because you could have the same car in California where gas prices are higher. It's going to cost you more to drive the same amount of miles. So I'm not talking about stuff like that. And you know, if you're always hard on your car, spinning the tires, you're gonna, wear and tear is going to go up, and your car is probably not going to last long enough to get a good cost per mile value. So that's the value of the vehicle. But with something like the $400,000 Porsche, a car like that is probably going to go up in value if you only put 5,000 miles on it. So something like that, you can get your money's back and almost put the miles on it for free. And we have stuff. I had a dual sport, a TBR7 dual sport. I paid $1,400 for it brand new, and I put 7,145 miles on it total, which was 19 cents a mile. So if you buy it for $1,400, put 7,000 miles on it, sell it for $1,200, you paid $200, and that brings your cost per mile down to 2 cents, and then it breaks out into a fraction. So the TBR7, it's not quite positive equity, but we didn't really lose too much on it. But I think my Jetta, I could sell it for more than I paid for it, so we're definitely doing good on that. And that's almost like the Porsche here. But nobody's going to take a $400,000 Porsche and mile it out to 200,000 miles, but if they did, they're still paying $2 per mile, plus all your operating costs and maintenance costs and stuff like that. So if the average truck is $100,000, and then let's just say you put 100,000 miles on it, and then you plan on trading it in or whatever, you're still going to have some value there, and then you could calculate it out at that. But you'd be at $1 per mile. And then if you get a new Jetta, that's about 30,000. So same thing, if you put 100,000 miles, you're at 30 cents, whereas my Jetta, we're down at 2 cents. And that's pretty close to where I'm at. So my actual miles are 65,000 that I've put on this car, and we're at 195,000 total, but that, you know, that doesn't matter because I didn't put 195. I've only put 65. So I'm paying 3 cents a mile at 65,000 miles. So if you were to get a new Jetta for 30,000 and you put 65,000 miles on it, that would put you right in here somewhere. You're paying 50 cents a mile, let's just call it that. It actually comes out to 46 cents a mile at 65,000 miles. So if you're paying 46 cents and I'm paying 3 cents a mile, that's kind of a big difference. And I put the TBR7 on there because I think that's one of the cheapest forms of transportation you can get, is one of those dual sports or the 50cc scooters. But the problem with that is you're not really going to put 20,000 miles on it and get down to 7 cents. So my cost was 19 cents if I just trashed it at 7,000 miles, but because I was able to sell it, it brought it down to 2 cents, which is still pretty close to where we're at in the Jetta. You know, if I sold the Jetta right now, we'd be at a better deal than the TBR7 because I have positive equity in it. But and depending on where you live, like if you live in a big city like New York, you could do this math on a bus or a train or something like that, because it all has cost per mile. And then I added the horse too, because if you think that's a better value, average horse $4,000, and I think the average miles were like 10,000 in a lifetime. So you're still 20 cents a mile at 20,000 miles. So none of these new trucks that are $100,000, you're not going to be able to keep that, you know, for your whole life or something, and then mile it out to 200,000. And even if you did, you're still at 50 cents per mile. value. Not talking about operating costs, but, and we all know like a GM transmission isn't going to last 200,000, so to get that 50 cents down to what I'm paying of 3 cents per mile, almost impossible. So my Jetta is a crazy deal. But if you live in a state with vehicle inspections, you can just forget all this because it's different rules for you. You have to play by these make-believe rules. But then where I am with my Jetta, you're just getting into fractions of pennies. So it's 3 cents at 65,000. But at 100,000 it's 2 cents, and then 150 it's 1 cent, and then 200 it's still 1 cent. But you're just getting less fractions of a penny because it's really like 0.1333, and then here it's, you know, 0.1000. So it can't get much cheaper than 1 or 2 cents per mile in vehicle value. So I've had other vehicles before, but I never really kept track of the mileage and the value that I got out of them. Like my green Honda Accord, I don't know what mileage that car had when I started, and then what mileage it had when I crashed it into the telephone pole. And then my white truck, same with that. I don't know the mileage when I got it and the mileage when I sold it. So I can't really break down the numbers for that, but you know, now that we keep track of stuff like this, the TBR7, or even my my Yamaha Dual Sport, I don't know what kind of mileage I put on that, but you know. So I think 3 cents a mile is pretty good, and I think the average person is probably going to be in this range, the $2 to 60 cents, you know, somewhere in there. This is more about the vehicle you choose to buy, or the deal you got, like your purchase price, versus the miles you got out of that vehicle. Get an old car and fix easy problems, or get a new car and then just get another new car and another new car and another new car. But there was a chance where I paid $2,000 for this car, and then, you know, if I was never able to fix it and only went, you know, a couple thousand miles, so if I only put 5,000 miles on this car and then it was junk, then I'm at 40 cents per mile. So, what? I'd say that the states with vehicle inspections were just set up to prop up a fake economy and sell new cars, and then you have to bring those cars to the mechanics, and then that keeps the mechanic industry going. Like every 2 years you have to bring your car and let another man tell you if it's safe to drive or not. But then we saw like the people doing those jobs are retarded. It really makes me mad that I was forced to sell my truck, and I would have never even bought the R32. I would have just kept my truck. But thanks to vehicle inspections, and then 2 years later we see how corrupt that is when they were revving the R32. When you're forced to bring it to a dealership that abuses your car during the inspection and you catch them on dash cam. It's the clown world we live in these days, but